Hello, everybody. We're back with the debrief. It's myself and a special guest for this one. Let's get into it. Well, hello, everybody. We're fresh off the face. It's Leeds United. It's top of the table, and I couldn't think of anybody better to go through this with than my partner in crime from a while ago. It feels like it's been way too long. By absolute popular, not even request, by popular demand, I had to get him on. The man who gives a completely different take to me, but maybe a better take to me. My good mate, Dave. He's back in the building. How you doing, mate? All good?
I'm good, mate. I'm looking over my left shoulder at Champions 20, and I'm thinking there'll be a Champions 25 not so long away.
It's a good start. It's a good start. All good, mate. Listen, what's going on anyway? People have been asking about where is he? What's he doing? Why is he not on the shows anymore? And I said, look, he's a popular man. He's a man in demand. Let everybody know what's been going on, mate. All of which you can do, but let everybody know where's Dave Brown been.
I mean, here, there, and everywhere. I feel like I get out of the car, go to bed, get in the car, and there's another game. It just seems mental. Just here, there, and everywhere. To be fair, mate, busy, and it's been nice to. I say have a bit of time off over Christmas, but as you know, there's a game seems like every 12 hours. There's a game. But yeah, it's nice to be back on here with you, and surely there could be no comments about boring Farke now. Surely, dear God.
Go on, tell us because I feel like you've got some stuff. We've been chatting off air a little bit, and there's been a bit of frustration from you. But there could have been some things I've said, mate, and that's why I get you on, obviously, because you're a man with a controversial opinion, and that's why I always brought you onto the channel, mate. But reasonable as well. What's been getting under your go? Leeds United the last 3 months as well. What's been happening for you, which you've really enjoyed watching?
I think I remember tweeting out goals win games, but defenses win titles. And I just think Derby, you wouldn't think it had scored in the last 29 consecutive home games. They honestly, we've just been joking about the fantastic Melier save. Bearing that, they didn't get a kick. And I just feel, it's good to watch such attacking, free-flowing football, but we're so dominating every single game. Teams just aren't laying a glove on us at the minute, and it is good to see. In football, you don't win every game, and think back to Millwall away where it was 1-0, but even then, one goal and smash and grab. And Blackburn was a bit different. I felt like Blackburn, they did have a fair few chances themselves that second half, and it was just a bad old day. But you're going to get them. When you're playing so many games, you're going to get them. And I just feel, in general, we're just blowing teams away. I mean, I think back to the Sheffield United game at home, didn't lay a glove. Middlesbrough, probably the best team, I think, that have been to Elland Road in recent times. And even then, we won out 3-1 winners.
Do you know what I'd say as well, mate? Do you know what I'd say as well? It was quite close after. Well, I think it was the next game on, actually. And two really important wins at Elland Road. I think the two best teams were probably Borough and Watford. And Dormster's just said it there in the comment section. I thought Watford in that second half really grew into it.
Yeah, definitely. And but by which time the game, it was 2-0 after 13, 14 minutes. And I think he's been in this league a long time, Farke. We should have gone up last year. Didn't. I think when I say clever, he's clever. Like with that Watford game, it felt like we'd played on the Saturday. It was a Tuesday night game, if I remember rightly, and then we got another Saturday game. It just feels like sometimes we're playing in second gear. Sometimes we're getting ahead in games and then just keeping the ball. And sometimes it was probably a bit boring to watch, but at the end of the day, I couldn't care less how we get out of this godforsaken league.
And I agree with you, though. I agree with you. Like the Derby game yesterday, there's been a lot made. Like I watched a few Derby bits as well, and maybe that's just how we're like looked at in this division. Like, and I've seen a few other watch-alongs of people like neutrals saying, Derby getting back into it. And I mean, I didn't do a watch-along or anything last night, but I thought to myself when I was watching it with my old man and my brother, I didn't ever think, oh, yeah, they're getting a foothold in the game. I just thought Leeds were getting, I mean, the amount of, look, I know you're always the one to come in here and talk about the referee. The referee's an abomination in this division. I think that's developed even more now. But the amount of time that ball was on the pitch was probably about 25 minutes, and they were taking about 5 minutes to take every throw in, every goal kick. That must have been frustrating in the ground as well. But on top of that, mate, like I felt we just lost our tempo a little bit in that second half. I don't think.
I mean,
I wouldn't ever say
feel
they were showing anything though. Were
no,
they, really?
I mean, even the Boxing Day game at Stoke, even when it were 1-0, and they had a 5 or 10 minutes of a bit of pressure, but you think back to it and you think at no point, and this is what I love about it, at no point did I feel that they'd score. I felt like they could have been there till next Tuesday and still wouldn't have scored past us. And I think that to have done what we've done and gone on the run that we've gone on without Ampadu in there for so long is unbelievable. I think you don't realise what Ampadu does until he's back in there. I think the pairing of Rothwell and Tanaka was fantastic, but I don't know, that unit of Stroit Road and Ampadu, it's just so strong. It's so strong.
I think the big thing as well is I saw something yesterday. I don't know if you saw it as well, but I think it's when Ampadu's been in the team, it's like just been WWWW, and it's obviously it's not always going to be the case with Ampadu. That's not real life. But I thought last night he was definitely back to his best. I think he's been a little bit rusty, you know. I think he's come back in spades, hasn't he? But I thought last night it was pretty dominant, wasn't it, from him? Yeah. I thought it was. And interestingly, are you of the opinion right now? I am. Where, I mean, he's naturally going to get back in as well because captain and Farke obviously loves him. We all love him as well. But I think it's more of a conversation with Tanaka and Rothwell now. I think maybe that's the rotation now. I think Ampadu's going to play every game. We know that. But it's definitely going to be between those two because I don't think Tanaka's been amazing the last sort of month, Brownie. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, absolutely. I think it's Ampadu +1 in there. Just little things like home games. It might seem trivial, but at the end of the game, when they walked around the ground, when Ampadu wasn't there, it was like in dribs and drabs, like 2 or 3 here, 2 or 3 there. As soon as Ampadu came back, that first game he came back at Ellen Road, it was like a unit. Everybody went round together. It just, and again at Derby last night, the whole team went across together, not just in ones and twos doing their own thing. It just felt like the leader of the pack is back, and that's what he brings. And maybe we didn't see so much of this in like the Liam Cooper when he was coming towards the end and everybody was like, oh my God. But having that in and around the dressing room is vital for a team. And I just think him being back in the centre of the pitch, as good as Rothwell and Tanaka have been, it can only improve us. And again, I saw a stat when we've taken the lead, just to echo the dominance, when we've taken the lead in the last 66 games, we've not lost. I mean,
that's mental, isn't it?
That just shows how much control. And this is what, at the start of the season, when we weren't on the run we were on, I was never panicked by it because we were so much in control in games. Yeah. Like, I think back to the Burnley game at home. I still don't know how they've got out of Ellen Road with 3 points, but they have. The Portsmouth game, and over the course of a season, that control and dominance comes out.
Brownie, do you know as well? Just having a look at FootMob here, and it's obviously a big one for scores and stuff. In fact, I'll share it on screen now, mate. And FootMob have got us pretty much at top for everything you want to see, really. Obviously, Burnley are coming into it a little bit, but just have a quick look at this here. Like, there's one badge here. Obviously, FootMob rating, we're top goals per match. Goals conceded, we're in the top 3 still. Average possession, expected goals, shots per match, big chances, accurate passes per match, big chances missed. It feels like every positive.
Which, I mean, big chances missed, it might sound, oh, that's bloody rubbish, but we're creating the chances is what I mean. Exactly. Like, back to that Portsmouth game where it was 3-3 right at the start of the season. Good God, if a Portsmouth fan had come out of that ground and we'd have scored 8, couldn't have complained. And I just feel, and I took pelters at the start when I said that we were a better all-round team without it. Towards the end of last season, especially February onwards, we felt like Somerville FC give it to Somerville, and just see what happens.
And you'd have Rutter as well, wouldn't you? Developing it and giving it to, you'd have him beating 3 men and giving it to Somerville, and he'd beat another 3 men.
Whereas now I just see, no matter what side we go down, whether it be James, whether it be Solomon, whether it be Nonto, Ramazani, he's been out injured for a while, and he started the season really well, and since he's come back, he's not really been anywhere near it for me. But it is another option. But you've also got Aronson in the pocket. You've got the big debate with Pirro and Joseph and Bogle coming down. It just feels like we've got quality all over the pitch rather than it just being pigeonholed into Somerville.
Well, can I ask you, because we I think last time we had a proper big chat was probably at the start of the season. I think he'd scored 4 in 4, Joseph, and probably me and you were looking at it. I had a look back at it today, mate, and we're thinking, yeah, I mean, that's your starter. Farke's gone with him. He's gone with him ahead of Peru. You know, that's a big decision with, you know, Peru still got a decent goal tally. Last season, they got 12 or 14, didn't it? It's not horrendous. But as a former striker, I want you to tell me, because I think sometimes you can be black and white and you'd agree with it, where you'll just turn around to me and you'll be like, right, Con, it's goals. But you also appreciate, from a striker's perspective, how important it is to do the other things. Is it a case right now of Joseph literally just getting a couple more goals under his belt? Or is it a case of he's not doing enough, he's not good enough, I'm hearing he should be shipped out? I don't know, do you have an opinion on him being loaned out and stuff like that? But for me, mate, I think there was 5 consecutive away games of which Peru didn't get a goal or an assist and wasn't really in the game. I feel Joseph was in the game yesterday, but it is just that final product, isn't it? I mean, where do you stand on it? Is it just the fact that Peru scores more goals? Is that what it is?
I'll go back and find where I said it at the start of the season, and I still stand by it. And it's interesting where you said about not doing. I think he does too much. I think he's here, there, and everywhere.
Okay.
Than being in between the posts. And I do. I just think he's young, he's eager, he's enthusiastic. It's just doing too much for me. He just needs to relax.
What would you, if you were coaching him, is that what you'd say to him? Would you just say to him, just stick in the box a little bit? Because I thought that was the problem with Peru a little bit. It's kind of Peru just lingers, doesn't he? He doesn't do maybe what the off the ball work that Joseph does. And talking to a young striker, as a former striker and as a coach yourself, what would be your advice to him? Like, right, would it be?
There was a bit in the second half. Byron was taking a throw in front of the Derby dugout, and we got out the other way. But Joseph was 5 yards away from Byron getting the throw in, and by the time we got out the other side, he was 50, 60 yards behind. I think there's a lot of pressure, and I said this. There's a lot of pressure on him to run the line for 46 games, number 9. For Leeds over the course. He goes away with Spain, 21s, bags all the time, no pressure. I just think we just need to remember that this is his first breakthrough season. Didn't really play much last year. And I think Farke's probably getting it right with the amount of rotation in games he's getting, dipping him in, dipping him out.
Would you start him, or would you keep him on the bench?
I'd be Pirro. There's nobody in the team when the ball's in front of. I mean, there was a chance that Joseph got first half and second half. I think Pirro scores him, but Pirro in front of goal just seems to go in. He just seems so natural in front of goal. I mean, the goal last night, the Aronson goal, the touch from Pirro to play it into his path. I'm not sure Joseph pulls that off. And that's not to knock him.
Do you think there was something? Because I saw this in the first half, Brownie. I saw one that he laid off pretty nicely, and we're going into specifics now, aren't we, mate? We need to be talking a little bit more generally about them both and where we see their careers going. Because if we do get to Premier League, Peru's an interesting chat there, isn't he, mate? I mean, what do we do with him in the Premier League? Because athleticism is probably not his strong point, and you need that in the Prem. But I thought there was, the one which Aronson blazed over the bar. I thought that was almost. I thought that was almost identical, and the ball was sort of fizzed into Joseph. Yeah. And he put it into his place almost first step. And I thought, Aronson blazes it over. But I agree with you.
There's one difference between them. One difference between them finishes. The one in the first half bounced up at Aronson, and he's had to do it on the volley. The one in the second half is on the floor, right in his path, and he just needs to guide it into the bottom corner. Do you know what I mean? That little bit of, I don't know. I just think he's so raw. Joseph. I'm not by any means saying ship him out or anything like that. Are either of them number 9s? I think that's the bigger question.
Are we okay in that position for you? Are we okay? Like, you've got 2 players who offer something completely different there. We're not. It's not a travesty right now. You've got Peru as 3rd top scorer. You've got Joseph, who would probably get in. What would you say? The other like 18, 19 teams in the division as their starting number 9. Is it like a travesty right now that, I mean, there's a lot of people offering for a number 9. Do you think we need to do that, or do you think it's a little bit overreactive at the minute? Or
I don't know. I mean, we're top of the league. We've lost 3 games in 24.
Yeah, 3. Yeah.
3 games in 24. And our keeper's crap. Everybody doesn't like Bogle. We need a new number 10 and we need a new number 9. And when Ampadu got injured, we grew we needed a new centre midfielder as well.
Well, what would you? So would you leave it in Jan then? Would you leave it, not do anything?
I think January's got to be very clever and be planning for 6 months ahead. I really do. I think last year when we went up, we bought a lot of unproven Premier League players.
Yeah, I'd agree.
And I think, I don't want to say build for coming back down, but I think we've got to be tactical and clever with what we do. We've said for how long that we need a number 9. I think we've said that since you've done this channel, that we need a new number 9. I mean, at Deepdale a few weeks ago, and I'm seeing, no, it was Blackburn. Bamford came on ahead of Joseph. I mean, we're still seeing him. I mean, he should have scored last night. As funny as it is.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my dad said when he missed that chance, but there we go. Yeah.
I mean, does Aronson do it in the Premier League? We've been there with him before in the Premier League. Interestingly, he's got more goals than Rutter already. I finished the season with 6 goals and Aronson's on 7. I mean, take that as you wish. I just feel that we're an all-round better team, better unit. January's always difficult because we saw this last January when we went and got Connor Roberts, who couldn't get in front of Archie Gray. Who was the other one? We got another one. Or was it just Connor Roberts?
I thought it was just Connor Roberts, yeah. I thought it was just Connor Roberts.
Who's
Spence went? Because Spence went, didn't he? Do you remember Spence went and we had to replace him?
Come to Leeds knowing
Carvalho. Was it Carvalho? Or was it Buendia? Because they said they're gone for those 2, didn't they?
Yeah, so realistically, to come in January, you're going to come and want to play, aren't you? So positional-wise, we've already got a headache centre midfield. Centre-back, headache. They spent 5 million on Bogle. They're not bringing another right-back in. Left-back, maybe, but I think that'd be really harsh on Byram at the minute. But the only issue for Byram is, and I know he's just played 2 games in 3 days, but will we see him in a day after tomorrow? Firpo, I think it says it all that he hasn't signed a new deal and it runs out in 6 months. So the left back could be.
There's Verber as well. Verber as well, who keeps conveniently getting injured, but I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, gets injured, but I'm sure he'll be fine if a transfer window deal came in next week. So I think they are the positions: a 10, a 9, and a left back. But how long have we been saying that for? But if we weren't to do any business, do I still think we'd go up? Yeah. But then does that leave us short in the next summer window needing? Because, I mean, I'll always be honest and realistic. Does the squad we have stay in the Premier League? No.
Nowhere.
I mean, you've seen the gap already emerging with the bottom 3. I mean, it just looks like 3 go up, 3 come down, but you've got to find a way to book that trend. I think we've just got to build for next year. So if you're bringing a Buendia in, you're going to have to bring him in knowing that you're going to maybe sign him in the summer.
Yeah, definitely.
Stuff like that.
I think that's why I've just seen Dano, VTLC. Brownie, I don't know if you've kept up on him because I know you're big on the lower leagues as well. Louis Barry, obviously went out to Barcelona. Villa bought him. And he's been absolutely tearing it up at Stockport. I don't think he'd come because I think there's going to be more opportunities for him in this division, and they're going to give him more minutes. And I think that's the problem Leeds faced last window with Carvalho and not such Buendia, because Buendia just didn't want to come, but Carvalho in particular wanted minutes, and Carvalho got minutes at Hull, and then he was signed by 27 million quid by Brentford, so it worked for him. So people will be looking at that and thinking, well, we're not just loaning players out now to sit on the bench. So they need to be getting minutes. I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah,
I mean the Louis Barry one, yeah. Does he get in front of Pirlo and Joseph though? Right now,
that's another conversation. Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think he does.
Because then you're getting, could realistically, if we're looking at it, and we do the rumor mill and we go over these rumors and we talk about, certain players that might fit and might be good players, but does Matteo Joseph go down to League One and do what Louis Barry's done? There's an argument he does. Is there an argument that Peru does the same? Yeah.
I mean, even I've played in League Two. I mean, like the Gulfs.
And you were shit. The
Gulf. Honestly, the Gulf is humongous. I mean, I remember. Lewis Bates playing for Stockport.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's no disrespect to Lewis Bates. He's playing his trade in League Two. I'm just saying, just because he's banging in goals in that league. I mean, Paul Mullen's doing it for Wrexham. Should we go by him? Like the Gulf is huge, and then the Gulf again.
Brownie, is there something? Me and you have always we've differed on certain points, but I think we've always been quite constant with this one thing. You're talking about future planning there. There's one name that sticks out to me when we're looking at the Premier League again, in terms of maybe getting the most value for him now because his contract runs out in 2026, and being able to improve him, because I think there are players in this position who can be Premier League ready. And he's on sort of a minus goals prevented, and save percentage isn't great this season, mate. I'll be honest. It's Ilan Melier. If there was a really decent goalkeeper, a really decent opportunity right now, would you go in and do that, or would you not want to disrupt the pack? Even though I feel anyway, I don't think the pack will be disrupted from a good goalkeeper coming in.
I've never been his biggest fan.
I think you're more harsh than I am with him, which takes something to be honest.
Fair few debates over the years over Ilan Melier. Don't think he's been anywhere near as bad this season. Obviously, the Sunderland incident sticks out, and the Portsmouth game where we had a hologram in net. But other than that, he has done all right this season. I think he's not really had overly a lot to do. Let's be fair. He's got one hell of a team in front of him, which always helps. Yeah. But would I be looking for a new keeper? Yeah, probably would. I mean, I don't think he's. Do
you think the club do, mate, or do you think the club genuinely see him as a Premier League keeper? I mean, Farke did call him the best keeper in the Champ last season. Do you think they genuinely believe that or not?
No. In the Champ, maybe because maybe but I mean, he's not. That's the right word. He's not developed at the rate I believe that they thought he would.
Yeah, I agree.
When he burst on the scene at that cup game at Arsenal, my word, distribution was unbelievable. I can't really knock him this season because I can. I mean, is it the other way where normally you can reel off his mistakes, whereas on this season you can only count them on one hand? Is that still too many? Probably. But on the whole, this season, I've not looked at him and thought he's really killing us this season. Last season, season before, but this season I've not really seen him and thought, good God, you're having a stinker here. There's not been too many of them occasions. But in the answer to your question, in the summer, do I think he'll still be in goal next season? Is a completely different question to do I want him to be. I think it all depends on what offers, because I remember in the summer when we came down, he was talking about Chelsea and Man United and all the rest of it. None of that materialised. So
talk about De Zerbi wanting him, wasn't there? Do you remember that at Marseille?
Yeah. So if something like that came in, he'd probably want to take it himself. How much money do you think we'd get for him? That's
yeah. I think we'd still get a decent amount from him, I think he's, I think there's still enough natter. Clearly, they've been pushed from his agent as well. By the way, when it comes to the likes of, I've seen one the other day, Fiorentina, Renner coming up again. Kamara-esque, and you do wonder even if in the Jan window, if Leeds are saying, because the thing is, Brown, you worked in football. This is really the last window where Leeds can get a lot of money for him. Mate. This is really the last window he's got, because by summer he'll have like a year left on his deal, won't he?
Yeah, and then obviously the other clubs are in a stronger position because they know they can just see it out for another season or whatnot. But yeah, I mean, in the last couple of months, he's not really done anything where I've thought, oh my God.
Yeah.
He's not as annoyed me as much this season.
Fair enough. Still time.
There was a lot of choice words coming back from the stadium.
My head's still, even though we're top, my head's still on Mars with that. Genuinely, like I can't watch it back.
Boxing Day, he's made a really good save early on against Stoke. Go 1-0 down.
I thought just seeing it in the comment section there. I thought their keeper's been good over the two legs. Zetterstrom, he's been decent. I think good save from Dan James as well.
Check. Yeah, he's
Peter Check. Yeah.
When he came out, I don't know.
So you're thinking, the interesting thing, Matt said, do you guys think Schmidt might start? I think Schmidt's the interesting one, isn't he? Because like with Byram, I think he was moved in really as almost that left back cover. I think that's what we all thought anyway, moved full back cover. But Firpo went out, didn't he? Bogle went out, and we didn't see Schmidt come in. We saw Byram come in.
He really likes Byram, doesn't he? Daniel Farke.
He loves him.
I think he likes, and this is what I like about him, he likes the tried and tested.
Brownie likes his players. You look at Buendia. You look at, apparently when he first came in, we went in with the cheeky bid for McLean. Todd Cantwell. It wouldn't surprise me if someone mentioned that a little bit earlier on. Wouldn't surprise me if they fluttered for him at some point as well. It feels like that entire Norwich team. Godfrey. Do you remember we went in for Godfrey, didn't we? Do you remember in the summer, obviously from Everton, and he's at Atalanta now.
He wanted Tanaka the season before. Yeah. So he do. I mean, I'm going to make people laugh here, but Joshua Joshua, we call him
Big
Joshua. Yeah. Obviously he's come across him again in the German league when he was over in Germany, Farke. So he likes. There's never a wild card pick, is there? There's never a team selection where you think, bit weird. It doesn't seem to be square pegs in round holes. Like people have been clamouring to put Nonto into the 10. No. He's just putting square pegs in square holes, and it's working.
Yeah.
But the Isaac Schmidt one, just to finish on that, I think it's very telling that he only comes on with about 2.5 minutes left.
Cheeky could have been a Niners signing, maybe. Not a Farke signing, because that does happen, doesn't it, in football, Brownie? You'll know that.
He was having him. I mean, he came on early in a game at Ellen Road, but I think we were winning 3-0 or something stupid. The game's either done or it's really, really late. And I think that's very telling that he's not really having him.
Which is interesting, isn't it? Interesting. Yeah. Maybe they just bought him in for cover and that was that. BMG has said, what's he said? Where has he put? Conor, if you're talking about selling Mele in January, you're crazy. Some of it. It's not crazy, mate. If they're looking to get maximum value for him, and a big bid comes in, you're not going to get that in the summer. You're just not. With a year left on his deal.
There's no way he goes in January.
I agree. Yeah, I agree with you. There's no way. Look, we know with Leeds. I mean, that would be. I think we'd all be like that. What? We'd all be like, what on earth? Even me. I'd be shocked.
Everything's just ticking along nicely. I mean, again, you won't have seen this in September, October, because everybody's squads were still strong. But now we're getting into a busy period of time. Now you're starting to see squads that aren't as good. I mean, Sunderland, they're in crisis if you look on their social media bits of how weak that their replacements are. So obviously, it's okay August, September, October getting through game after game, but now you're seeing squad depth come into play. Got our mate Chris Wilder moaning about squad depth, which is brilliant to see. But when you look at Leeds, there's no other team in the Championship who could play Boxing Day, then play on 3 days later and bring in Nonto, Ramazani, Joseph, and Tanaka.
Rothwell didn't get on the pitch.
There's no other team in the league that can do that.
No.
But 4 players that didn't play on Boxing Day or didn't start, there's just no way. And yeah, it is Leeds United, but there's just no way Leeds, the 2 teams, finish above Leeds in this championship. I'm just not having it. I've seen Sheffield United play on TV so many times. I've seen Burnley play on. I don't know how they're only 2 points behind us. I genuinely, they've looked awful when I've seen them on TV. Awful.
I think we've given them a little bit of a chance, haven't we, with that away form? We've given them a bit of a chance because maybe they've been a little bit more consistent. The interesting thing is now we've gone from 8th to 3rd in that away form table, Brownie, which shows how quickly it can turn. Do you think?
By the way, Stoke and Derby, they're tricky games over Christmas away from home.
Derby have got a good home record. They've got a decent home record, Derby. Yeah.
I read that 20 of their 27 points had come at home.
Derby's. Yeah. They've got a good home record. Yeah, well, did they beat West Brom at home? They beat West Brom at home, didn't they, over the Christmas period? So that was a big win, 2-1. Are you very much of the opinion now as well that that's maybe a monkey off our back, Brownie, in terms of that away form? 2 clean sheets back to back for the first time second time this season, because it was Sheff Wed and Cardiff on it. But 2 back to backs. Putting the Leeds top of the table. I'm hoping now, mate, and you've been to pretty much all of these away games. I'm sure you might have been to all of them. That hopefully now we can get a little bit of consistency. Do you know what the big thing was, Brownie? I was having a little look at it, and I didn't know whether or not this was a consistent problem. We won 9 games, mate. 9 games in 25 away from home last season. So 5 games even now, when we've had a terrible record a week ago, is it can change pretty quickly, can't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, last year, I think we went all season unbeaten at Ellen Road, and so we played Southampton in those 2 games. So last year, the home form carried us a long way as well. We've got some tricky away games coming up as well. Where it's their cup final. I mean, every game's their cup final, but Hull have had a change of manager. They've got a good win at Blackburn. But then we go to Turf Moor. That'll be our next away game after that. So, and then I think it's Watford and Coventry. So you've got the Lampard factor for Coventry. You'll have them riled up. Watford are pushing for playoffs and Burnley up there. So it was really important that we got them 2 wins, I think, against Stoke and Derby. Some really, really tricky away games to come. But I think once we get past end of January, early February, I think we're in a really good place without looking at the fixtures. I think post that period, I think we've been to Burnley and Sheffield United by that point, and then it does look rather favourable because we've already been to Sunderland, we've already been to West Brom, and we've already been to Norwich. I just think we're in a really good place. Really do. I think the results yesterday were probably the best set of results over a game week that we've had all season. With them all, there was only us in the top 8 winning. If I have a quick look at Burnley and Sunderland, yeah, that Burnley have got Sunderland coming up and Blackburn, so they've got really tough games. And I'm sure Sheffield United have got. Is it another? They've got
Sunderland on the next away.
Yeah, so I think it's really important we stamp our authority. We needed to create that gap. It wasn't so long ago we were 5 behind Sunderland, so he's done really, really well to swing it round. And whilst the teams around us are playing each other, I think it's really, really important that we do pick up them wins, because we're not going to win every game between now and May. There are going to be stinking 1-0 results away at QPR or something daft at Plymouth or something stupid. It will happen. That's football. So I think there's the bigger cushion we can get, the better, because it's how much easier is it having that cushion than playing catch up like we were all last season? Because I mean, at one point last season, we were 17 points behind. We had no right to be in a top 3 race,
mate. At this point last season, Leicester were on 59 points. 59 points. It was. I think Ipswich were on 54.
What did we do? We got within 2 of them as well, didn't we? We got within 2 at one point or something like that. But yeah, Sheffield United's next few fixtures: Sunderland away, Watford away.
It's not nice. It's not
I mean,
nice.
we wouldn't want to be going to Sunderland and Watford in our next 2 games.
Does that? Do you think that puts maybe a little bit more pressure on the Blackburn game as well? And Farke, obviously, he's got. I mean, Eustace has got a little bit of that Russell Martin factor on Farke, and Brownie in terms. And this kind of goes back to Domston's just said. I hope we give Rothwell a run tomorrow. Maybe a bit of a chance to rotate again. Do you keep it like it is? But Farke changed the winning team against Derby, didn't he? I mean, it's a big game. It feels like Brown. Obviously, they're 5th in the division. They're a little bit. That sort of team's a little bit of our kryptonite, isn't it? You know, quite decent on the transition, but very, very good defensively. Bit of a problem potentially.
It'll be a tough game. I think of all the games I've been to this season, there was West Brom away where I didn't think we deserved to win. I don't think we deserved to lose, but not deserved to win. Blackburn away, didn't deserve to win. There's not been many games where I've come away from the football match and thought Leeds should have won that, but Blackburn's been one of them. The game at Ewood Park, they were more than. If we'd have got a point, I think it'd have probably been fair, but you could not have begrudged them 3 points that day at Ewood Park. They were good. We were really poor. So they're one of the only teams this season that I felt, I wouldn't say done a job on us, but felt warranted the points that they got. I came away from Millwall and. What was the other stupid away game that we got
Preston,
beaten?
Was it? Oh no, not Preston, but yeah.
No, we drew there. There was another away game early on in the season where we got beat, and I've come away thinking, how the hell have we lost that? But the Blackburn one, you could get in the car and think wasn't to be today. We didn't deserve anything. So it'd be a tricky game, really tricky game. But when you see Sheffield United playing Sunderland, I mean, they don't play till 8 o'clock at night, so it's a chance to go 5 clear. Chance to go 5 clear of them. So then they're kicking off at Sunderland, 5 points behind us. I think that's. I'd rather be in our shoes than theirs when you word it like that.
Well, FFS says, evening, in my opinion, it'll be a travesty if Leeds don't go up. Sunderland, as I expected, have tail off. And the rest don't look anything as good as Leeds. Look, we've experienced last season. Cheers for your donation, mate. But we've experienced last season, haven't we, Brownie? This league was it might be closer, potentially, but last season was, I think, probably the hardest. I think that last season was the best championship there has ever been. I don't think there was a better championship when you've got 4 teams on plus 90 points, and you look at what Ipswich and Leicester did, which was the quickest start ever in championship history. We went on one of the best runs in championship history, in that 10-game winning run. And then Southampton did what they did at the end, didn't they? It was full of turns and it was a mad, and we beat them both. I think we beat the top 2 home and away, and then we couldn't beat Southampton. It was mental, but the quality level, mate, it felt a lot better last season than this season, definitely.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's vital that we go up this year. We said, didn't we, going up into the Premier League this year with 2 of the teams from this championship, you give yourself a much better chance next season in the Premier League of staying up. Maybe you only have to jump above one of the Premier League teams because you'd expect the 2 to come up to be right down there with you. Whereas this season, the 3 teams coming down into the championship next year, good God, all the best getting out of that next year because I mean,
Ipswich are going to be strong, aren't they, Brownie? Ipswich, obviously, they've recruited for the championship, mate. They've recruited for it.
If it's Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton coming down next season, I don't give any of them a prayer to even challenge next year in the championship. So that we said that in August that this year was vital to go up purely because of that. And on the positive side, like I just said, when you go up with, I don't know, could be a Sheffield United and a Blackburn. You fancy your chances to finish above them 2, and then you've just got to cherry pick another Premier League team to stay up. I do think come the end of the season, though, we will be comfortably a good 7 to 10 points clear.
That confident, yeah?
Yeah.
Go on, tell me why.
I mean, 2 clear now. We've had Ampadu out for 3 months.
Do you think it could happen now? Do you think it could happen now in terms of what these other teams have coming up? Do you think genuinely we could open a gap up now? The thing is, mate, if we beat Blackburn, and they lose at Sunderland, which are both very, very high possibilities, let's be honest. If that
already 5 clear.
It's 5, and it's goal difference. Goal difference. We're miles ahead of them on that as well. Oops, sorry, I'm still here, by the way.
That's what I mean. I mean, I'm not taking the Blackburn game for granted whatsoever because I think it will be tricky. But come tea time on New Year's Day, we could be 5 clear of Sheffield United, and then they have to go to Watford.
Yeah,
it's not out of the question whatsoever. The following week, Burnley were at Blackburn. Burnley go to Blackburn, so it's a really, really pivotal time coming up because, I mean, once we get past Sheffield United away, which is the end of February.
I want to play him. Brownie, I want to play him. I want to play him. I want to play that. I want to play in Burnley, and I want to play.
I'll give you this run of fixtures post Sheffield United and Wexford. So we got Portsmouth, Millwall, QPR, Swansea, Luton, Preston, Oxford.
Oh, is that the end? Is that the end of the? Is that the end of the season?
Then it goes Stoke, Bristol, Plymouth. Season done.
Oh my!
After Sheffield United in February, barring a calamity, I don't see where we drop points.
Do you see them? I think they're going to go big in January, mate. I think they're going to go big. They've had new Americans.
They've just been taken over, haven't they?
They've just been taken over. I think Harry Suter's injured, and I think Vinny Sousa's picking up a lot of injuries. Does that not scare you as such? But are you thinking if they bring in some sort of big Premier League bodies here, you're looking at it and thinking, right, okay, come on, Leeds, big boy pants on now. We've got to really get going now.
I mean, and this isn't me just being cocky and whatever because we've won 2 games and we're top. I was saying this in August and I was saying this in September. I don't see anybody finishing above Leeds. We've got the best squad. It's an embarrassment of riches of what we've got in the Championship. I mean, there's games where we're bringing on Dan James in the Championship.
I know.
It's ridiculous. I mean, Farke got injured against Derby. We brought on Verba. I know we all laugh and joke, but he played in the World Cup. And we're bringing him on. Yeah. We're bringing him on for the left-back replacement in the Championship. Ampadu and Gruev, 2 starting centre midfielders, out. We brought on a Japanese international who's turned into Kaka. Like, do you know what I mean? It just... I genuinely... I don't see us not going up. And that's been consistent. It might be arrogant. But I think if you ask the other 23 clubs every 23 channels of other clubs, they would all want our squad.
Yeah, they would, 100%. GR1 has said, Brownie, good to see you. Happy belated Xmas. I'll get him a coffee when he invites me around next. Greeper, don't worry on that one, mate. FFS says, to put last season into context, Saints, you forget about this as well, don't you? Saints went on a 25, do you remember that? 25 game unbeaten run and were 3rd the whole time. We went above them with 1 round of fixtures. They lost. I forgot about that. They went on an absolute assault, didn't they, at the end of the season?
That was a Southampton team that had been in the Premier League for 10 to 12 years.
That's what he's saying, Brownie. I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, it was so good.
I don't see any of them playoff teams doing that. I just don't. I mean, Burnley, this is, again, no disrespect because they're professional footballers. Burnley are playing Connor Roberts and Jadon Anthony, 2 players that couldn't even get in our team last season. They're starting week in, week out. The quality, I mean, you've mentioned it yourself, the goal difference. It's nearly plus 29. We played half a season.
The goal difference is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Because the thing is now as well, Brownie, you get the thing is like Burnley win and we lose. They don't go above us,
I mean, I've not even looked at Burnley's fixtures. Stoke should win. Blackburn away, massive derby for them. Yep. Sunderland. And then us.
Yes. Yeah.
So they've got a run of 3 games. Blackburn, Burnley. Blackburn, Sunderland. Sorry, they play Plymouth away, so that's 3 points. And then they play us. So 3 of the 4 games, Blackburn, Sunderland, Leeds. I mean...
Not bad, is it? It's a tough one. I tell you what, though, Sunderland, that's why I bloody wish we'd have won over there, Brownie. Not just because obviously getting 3 points anyway, but our superiority after that first 15, 20 minutes. No team's done that to Sunderland. No team's
I
done
think
that.
it was just very charitable because obviously Sheffield United are always going, "No, we've got 2 points deducted." Well, we effectively chucked 2 points into the net. So for me, that's wipes it clean slate. They're 2 points.
We'd still be above them anyway. We'd still be above them anyway right now on goal difference. You know, Wilder can't count. He said that if it carries on like it does, they'll finish over 100 points. He can't count. He's getting to that point again. He's getting, you know what he gets like? He look after the Leeds game, it's early on in the season. No team will finish above Leeds, all that sort of stuff. And if they do, they'll be champions. But you're seeing it now, Brownie. You're seeing it, mate. He's getting a little bit more rattled. The West Bromwich Albion fans were at him the other day. Look, I watched that game, came back, watched it. I did the big extensive highlights on for about 30 minutes. They were not the better team. They weren't the better team against Burnley. They weren't the better team against Sunderland. And I think, look, me and you, we had that disagreement, didn't we, about Burnley, and you were saying that, look, we 100% deserve to win. And I was saying, look, Brownie, Burnley deserved it because they enacted a game plan. And they stuck to it. But at the end of the day, you look at our performance against Burnley when we had about 170 shots, and Sheffield United, I think, had 2 shots at home. It's a completely different talking point, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the Burnley game is one that I bet that's what Leicester will have felt last year when we beat them at Ellen Road.
Mate, do you remember that? Do you remember how many chances they had at Ellen Road that game?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Leicester, I know we won 3-1 in the end, I think it was, but Leicester should have been out of sight. Should have been out of sight that night. So you do get these games, and that's why I've said there'll be another game before the end of the season where we'll go to somewhere crap like Oxford and we'll get done. Like it will happen because football's not FIFA. It will happen, but if you keep doing the right things, keep playing the right way, keep doing what we've been doing, the results over 46 games come, and 8 wins in 10, 25 points from 30 since Millwall. Not bad for a fellow who don't know what he's doing.
Indeed, Brownie did say that if we took our chances, we'd be flying already, even though we don't get 4 5-0 games. We've scored the highest in the league. I think that's the big thing. We're creating the most chances again. FFS says far too good, as last season was poor this year. Are you either of you going to Harrogate? Oh, right, yeah, I'm with you. Don't know why. I mean, that's literally how I say Harrogate, so I don't know why I've not read that right. Brownie will be. Brownie will be, mate. I don't think I will be at the Harrogate game, but
it'll be weird to see away fans in the South Stand.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it will. I mean, there's no Harrogate fans, is there? Let's be honest. They're all Leeds fans. It's going to be such a weird game, that unbelievably strange.
Yeah, did you see there was a thing that Opta Stats did from all the teams back to 2012, 2013 of shots faced, chances created, shots faced. We were the 4th best. Currently, this team been the 4th best in all the championships teams since Opta started of chances created against chances not faced.
Yeah. That's good. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Well, how do you see? What do you see him doing? Just going a little bit forward, Brownie. What do you see him doing with the Blackburn game? Then, what do you reckon he'll do? Do you reckon he'll rotate again? Do you reckon he'll keep the same team? I mean, I wanted to talk to you as well about Ramazani and Nonto, which seemed to be a pair, and they were excellent for us earlier on in the season, weren't they? Especially away from home. But Solomon and James. I mean, I don't know why it's Solomon and James and Ramazani and Nonto. Could it be Solomon and Nonto and Ramazani and James? Whatever, I don't know. But it feels like at the minute, mate, Solomon, I can't believe how much better he's got. Ramazani seems a little bit rustier now just because he's coming back into it. But we've seen him, mate. We've seen him when he's been at his pomp, and what a player at this level he is. Nonto, I thought he had a poor game the other day, but I looked back at the stats and I was completely wrong. And Dan James is, Dan James is Dan James, isn't he? So what on earth do you do? What do you do?
For me, the starting 3 is James, Solomon and Puro.
Okay.
If you'd have asked me this post Blackburn, honestly, I wasn't having Solomon one bit.
No, I don't think we both.
I hadn't seen anything from him, but in the last month, he looks so much more composed with the ball. Looks every time he gets it. I think you're right with Ramazani. Was out for a while, obviously getting back up to speed with things, but so was Solomon when he came back. So hopefully in a few weeks you see Ramazani flying. Nonto's an interesting one because I expected so much more from him this season. I don't know if I expected too much.
Is this the problem with him? Is this the problem with him when he's actually, like, by normal standard championship standards, he's playing well. Sorry about this, Matt, but he's playing well by normal championship standards. But when we look at what we expect from him, me and you and all the fan base expect like best player in the championship. So if he's not delivering that high level of performance, we're all a little bit like, well, that's not been good enough. Like
Yeah,
you know what I
I
mean?
mean, if you were picking your team, and I think everybody as well, the first winger everybody would say would be Dan James.
Yeah. Fair.
And I think Solomon plays as well. I think if you'd have asked this question in August that Nonto isn't in people's teams, I think people would have looked at you and thought you needed a straitjacket or something.
Yeah,
but recently, I don't know. He's always the first player hooked off when he's starting. I know game's not about numbers, but I don't think his numbers are great. I might be wrong. I'm just going off the eye. Not saying he's having a poor season, but I just expected him to blow the championship apart away this season. Maybe it's just of how well Dan James is doing that we feel Nonto's not up there with him, but it's a long season. It's a very long season. You probably get to March and Nonto's playing better than Solomon and they'll be chopping and changing. Like Pirot and Joseph have been throughout the season. At the start of the season, people wanted Joseph, then they wanted Pirot, then they wanted Joseph. Now they're back to Pirot. But yeah, if you were asking me for I don't even know what day it is. Are we on Monday?
I have no idea myself, but yeah, we're on Monday.
Yeah, so for Wednesday, I'd be playing Solomon, Pirot, and James.
Wanted to get a touch on Bogle as well. What have your thoughts been on him? I know you were a little bit indifferent at the start of the season.
Yeah, since I thought of Blackburn away, although you could have said this to any of them, it looked like he'd won a competition for the day. Since I think he's been so good lately, Bogle. I thought it was unbelievable. I actually voted him man of the match at Stoke, which is weird when a striker's scored two. Yeah. But I thought at Stoke, that's the right back that we thought we were getting in August.
It was almost like Championship Trent, wasn't it? You know, him just getting in that midfield and driving forward.
And again, I thought he was good last night as well. And I think for the last month, I think Bogle's been. Who did he score against at home? Scored against Oxford.
Oxford,
yeah. Scored against Oxford at home. I'd say the last 5-6 weeks, I think Bogle's just been getting better and better and better because, I think the jury was out at the start of the season, and I think it was for a lot of people. But that's like I've just said with Nonto, over the course of the season, if everybody's form was like that, it'd be too easy, wouldn't it? People do have dips and things with form, so hope to see Bogle continue because I'm not sure we've got much to back it up.
Yeah, it does feel like that. Yeah. Injuries, I guess the thing, you're just talking about Solomon. Injuries, in it, Brownie. We're getting quite lucky with them at the minute, in a sense, that everyone's back right now for a 2-week period. We've been all right. We've put nearly at full strength, I guess. It is just about keeping Solomon fit, isn't it, right now? And at the start of the season, he kind of got into a relatively good vein of form, relatively good minutes, and then he got injured. But it's just about keeping him playing. He's had this throughout his entire career where he's really struggled to maintain his fitness. So that's going to be the big thing towards the back end of the season as well, Brown. It's going to be big for his career, isn't it, mate? Because he needs to prove to the world that he can stay fit for a large portion of the season to get a good move or at least play for Tottenham or even play for Leeds, maybe. Yeah,
definitely. It's what's happened. It's the reason why he's in the Championship this season is his injury, his past injury record. But as with injuries, I think, have we been lucky? I mean, if you just said to us at the start of the season,
it's the depth, Brownie, isn't it? It's Brownie, it's the depth.
But before we knew how good Tanaka was, we were losing Ampadu and Gruev. I think people would have been wincing, thinking, "Oh."
By the way, mate. by the way, mate, he is never starting Tanaka or Rothwell in a month of Sundays, is he? If Gruev and Ampadu are fit all the time, it's just not happening.
I mean, this is the thing. Like, Gruev's coming back soon. How does he get back in?
No way, surely not.
I genuinely don't know what he's going to do once, because it's nice that it's happened at this time. Farke's, I'm not going to say got lucky, but he's been able to rotate it because we've had 3 games in like 9 hours or something stupid. He's been able to sort of get away with going, right, you're having a rest today, but once we get past Hull, then we go back to Saturday.
Yeah, which will be nice, mate. Which will be nice.
Oh, will it? How he just picks 2, because all 4 of them will be fit then. I don't know what he does, but he's been very clever at keeping everybody happy this season.
Do you think there's been a big thing with this old?
Sorry, he
can by the way. He can by the way. He's done it for Bulgaria anyway. But yeah, I mean that's a conversation. But
whenever he was having meltdown, that Kamara was going.
Yeah, it's not been bad, has it? It's not been bad recruitment. What I quite like though is it seems like we've got a good. You were speaking about this a lot, and I think we need to touch on this. Personalities, Brownie. You've just mentioned Ampadu there, and how important has Joshua Gilavogui been? It feels like when he's come in, he just seems like an absolute radiant presence. My old man said he must be gutted coming on for 2 or 3 minutes on every game. And I said, the thing is, Dad, this is how he's playing his career now. He's 34, 35 years old. If he can get even just a short-term contract in the Premier League and playing for Leeds United, what a sign-off to his career. He might even go America after that, get his profile a little bit higher, playing in the Premier League. But I think his just presence in this side, it feels massive. I think he went out, he goes out for meals with Schmidt and Nonto and Ramazani and a couple of the other lads as well. It feels like a presence like that coming in off the free agent market's been massive.
Definitely. A good dressing room gets you 5, 6, 7 points over the course of the season. And it might sound weird, it might sound busy, but something I look for when I'm watching games is a bit like last night. Do you know when the goal's gone in?
Yeah.
How do the subs react? Do they celebrate all in it together? Are they well, he scored and he's in my position, so yeah, well done. But I mean, when Aronson scored, Joshua, we'll just say Joshua, all right?
Josh.
Smith, I think Bamford was in the corner as well. They just erupted. Like it was good to see that the teams all together, because in previous years,
very reminiscent of Pablo scoring against Swansea and Barry Douglas mobbing him in the corner.
Yeah, and it was similar at Preston as well. I know it might have been different because it was a last-minute goal, but the whole dugout came out, and it just feels this Leeds team, and it's been pitched at this team early on in the season that fans can't connect with it and not likable. But inside them 4 walls, you can just tell there's a togetherness. You can just tell that they're all in it together, which is something that winning teams need. Because especially that last year in the Premier League, I couldn't imagine any of them going out with each other for a meal. I couldn't imagine any of them speaking to each other. It was just a toxic place, wasn't it? So I think Twitter's not a real place, is it, with some of the things that people say on there, but I think Farke needs so much respect putting on his name for what he lost. Gray, Somerville, and Rutter,
and Kamara
after losing a playoff final where your team are going to be on the floor, and it just doesn't. It doesn't seem like this team lost a playoff final. 5 months ago? It just seems a proper unit.
And by the way, this is a team as well who are in the second year of parachute payments. We've got 3 other first level parachute payments to contend with. Yeah,
absolutely, mate. And there was a stat that came up on the way back. I can't remember. All the games seem to be merging into one, but all the managers who have hit 200 games in the Championship, nobody's got a higher win ratio than Daniel Farke.
Yeah, he's got like the. I think he's got the best. I think he's got the most wins in the Championship ever.
And then this guy he's getting questioned left, right, and centre. From it was not so long ago. Genuine people were asking for him to be sacked.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people would look at me and be like, "Oh, Connor was maybe insinuating it." I wasn't. It was very much. I'm not going to go back on it, by the way. With me, Brownie. I mean, me and you've gone all the way back to Bielsa, mate, and you remember me with him. I absolutely adored him, but I'm meticulous, aren't I, when it comes to football, and I'm very can be picky sometimes, and that's you either love me or hate me for that, but it is just who I am. But we all have different personalities when it comes to football.
It's passion, isn't it? And
it is.
Don't get me wrong. Coming out of Ewood Park, having beat 1-0, you think, boring, blah blah blah, but it just seems like Leeds are a machine that just. I question whether that Leeds team would have won at Derby last night. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if we'd have grounded that out. It just seems like we're just grinding us out. Like, even at home, sometimes when we've not been great, we just keep grinding and grinding and grinding. And like you've just rightly said, then we're in a league where there's teams that 3 of them were in the Premier League last year.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. And I think it's important as well, Brownie, that we say. When it comes to Farke, it's right to even if he's been top of the division. I'd hate for people to think that they can't question things. I've questioned his substitutes. You've questioned his substitutes. There've been certain selection where you've looked at it and you've gone, "What is he doing?" You've seen Leeds away from home and the intensity being completely off. Look, I think he's been culpable. He's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But yeah, I'd agree with you. And this is why I've never come out. We had Wainman saying to me before, mate. He said to me before on these shows, he said, "Look, you're in or Farke out," and I said, "I'm Farke in. I just have some criticisms with him," and I think that's fair enough to say. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things.
I think we have changed a bit though as well, because don't get me wrong, there were times we came away from Ellen Road where it probably was a bit boring and a bit lethargic. I think we go forward a bit quicker now, which is going to sound daft because the goal last night had about 903 passes. That was 4 games.
I think he's saying people calling for his head 4 games ago, yeah.
I thought I said I was. No. I do think we seem to be a bit more, not direct, that's not the right word, but a bit more progressive. And I don't know if that helped with Rothwell in the team where he drove the ball forward on a little bit more. But in the last month, it has certainly been a bit more exciting. So I do accept why people were a little bit, is this the best we can do, blah, 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 because you have
It's the team, Brownie, innit? It's the team, but you've got to have someone to dot it together. You can have all the best players in the division. I mean, I'm not saying we have, by the way, but you've got a very good pool, but someone's got to dot them together. And this is what I always said, like, my old man questioned him maybe a little bit more than I did, but we'd have conversations about it. And I'd say to him, well, I sometimes there's things that I'm not sure on him with, of course, but do you get more positives than negatives? You do. But look, the standards are so high this season, mate. The expectation is so high that with that crop of players that he's got, unfortunately with Farke, I don't think Farke can go through maybe another spell like that away from home, mate. I don't think we can go through another spell of 3 wins in 10. I think with that team, he's always going to have criticisms.
Something had to change away from home. It was chalk and cheese, wasn't it? Night and day, home form and away form. Something had to change. And when you look at them games where we were getting beat 1-0, it's eluding me who we got before Millwall. Millwall and Blackburn, that was it, the 1-0 games, where they were just so similar. Teams would get a goal and then just sit and defend, and it was just finding a way to break it. But thankfully, that's only happened 3 times out of 24.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
But I do remember saying this early on in the season when I said that we were like the Audi slogan, that Aufwandus Technik, do you know, the machine? Okay, and that just is that's going to be our new slogan, I think, for Leeds. It just seems like, right, 3 points, next one, 3 points, next one. And what we're on, 51 out of 24. So is 2 points a game. We should be on 48. So we're 3 points ahead of schedule. Halfway through
we've got to contend with Chris Wilder, who Sheffield United are going to finish the season on 154 points by his maths. So,
genuine question, and this probably will sound arrogant because I tweeted yesterday that it will be Leeds +1 for the automatics, and you can clip that up as many times as you want. The other 23 teams. Who do you think will join us?
Burnley.
Why? Why Burnley? Because I'm airing to that myself, but it's interesting.
Yeah, Burnley. Joe said Sheffield United this month. I think it'll be Burnley, and that's no bitterness or anything like that. I think Burnley is a squad, Brownie. We talk about squads a lot. I think Burnley's squad is decent. I think they've got a good squad. I think they've got players that are coming back. You know, they've got Sarmiento, Bayer, who was in this season before. You know, with he was the centre back who was brilliant with Company. Sarmiento, Ramsey, all of them are coming back in January. I think they've got I think Lyle Foster coming off the bench now. Jay Rodriguez, who's probably our Bamford, isn't he? They've got Ekdal on the bench. They've got depth. I think Sheffield United, I think are struggling a little bit at the minute with what they're bringing off the bench. I think they had a centre-back. They had a centre-back on the bench and Sam McCallum. That was it the other day. So I think I'm going with that. By the way, Brownie, I don't know if you'd agree with this, but I think if you have a good away basis, so if you're winning a lot of games away from home, which Burnley didn't do the other night, but they've got a really decent away record. Tough game. And they still got a point and they were the better team. But I think if away from home, it's easier to then transition into your home form. So I think your home is naturally easier. I think it'll peter out into their home form a little bit better for me. I think Burnley are going to be strong.
No, so I've just quickly looked. Sky
they don't concede goals, Brownie. Another one. Sorry, they've conceded 9 goals all season. That's another one.
Yeah, that's good. That Sky Bet, other betting companies are available. They have Leeds 2-7 on to win it.
Yeah,
and then it's Burnley 5-1, Sheffield United 11-2. So they're airing with Leeds and Burnley as well, which is interesting. I don't want to say this out loud. For promotion, so not to win it, just to be promoted, we are 1-20 on. 1-20. That's outrageous.
What's that? Where it goes? Where it goes? And it's Leeds United.
1-20 is outrageous.
If I hear that Joy Division song in March, I'm not coming on this channel ever again. I can't hear it anymore. I've heard it too.
There was someone I saw a tweet on it after the game last night where it was for the last God knows how many seasons, the team that were top at the turn of the new year had been automatically promoted for the last 5 seasons, but the team who last didn't do it was us. Yeah,
we've got all the records, haven't we? The playoff semis where nobody in a playoff semi-final has ever overturned a 2-0 deficit. Obviously, we went 1-0 up at Pride Park. Then we scored the first with Dallas at Ellen Road. No team's ever done that. Then Derby stuck 4 past us.
If anybody can do it, we can do it. But
except Leeds, yeah.
It's looking favourable. But then playoffs, by the way, I don't want to be in them because they look tricky. They look very tricky. It's a season where I think, in seasons gone by, you think third are guaranteed to go up. I know, again, last year we didn't. But in seasons gone by, you think third. Brentford did it. Fulham did it. It's a season where anybody in them playoffs, as it stands at the minute, would fancy the chances.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I mean, you look at. Let's have just a quick look at him. You look at. Is it? But it's normally it's Borough and Watford in it who keep swapping and changing. Watford are growing.
At the minute there's Burnley, who we said will go up, so possibly Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Blackburn.
Yeah, for me, I mean, Blackburn would be a nightmare. For us in particular, they'd be a nightmare. I know I've got them next, but there are 2 legs. They don't concede that many goals. I think they've got 6 clean sheets on the bounce, didn't they? Campbell, Dolan, all going forward. They've got the good team. And then you look at, for me, Burnley. I mean, they just don't concede. If that game doesn't end 0-0 in that Lancashire derby, I'll be absolutely gutted. It should end up 0-0 because they don't concede goals. But yeah, for me, mate, it's that'd be all. And by the way, for probably around 20 minutes this season, I don't think I've seen Leeds struggle more than against Sunderland at the Stadium of Light for that first 20 minutes, where they were just, do you remember, they were all over us like a rash. I think Bellingham hit 2 over the bar. They were everywhere. So I think there'll be a big problem as well in the play. This is if they don't, all these teams don't go up. But we're
still half the season to go, isn't there? There might be one surprise pack come out of the thing, but it's been nice, mate, to be sat top of the league and do a nice video.
Yeah, we've not done this in a while, have we?
with the everything all happy in the world and no doom and gloom. And
no doom. It's nice, isn't it? I
looking
remember
forward to the 3 points.
people don't realise how difficult it was doing these shows, you in particular. But we were getting relegated from the Premier League, coming on these every week and just getting battered. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah, this time next year it'll be we'll have just been beat 4-0 at Newcastle or something stupid. And
how do we go into what do you think that do you think if we do go up, let's say, you know, we are top of the division now, so I think we can talk about it, but if we do go up, do you think there's a genuine, you know, how have they got to go up and do it different? Because you're looking at Ipswich now, Southampton and Leicester, but Brownie, there are examples up there. We've got Villa, we've got Nottingham Forest, we've got Brentford, Fulham. There are examples up there of teams that do well.
We did it, and then
us, yeah.
Got rid of Bielsa and brought in Jesse Marsh. So just don't do that.
But do you think it's a case of I was mentioning it this morning? Do you think it's pinpoint recruitment? Pinpoint, absolutely. You can't miss with. I mean, we miss with. I think
you've just got to cling on to. You just got to cling on to 17th and go again.
How big do you think recruitment is? You think it's just massive? You can't get many wrong, can you? It doesn't feel like you can get many wrong.
No. I think, and I know we've had a nice jovial episode, but I think we need quite a bit of work.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that I've said this, and this is what I said when I came down to the Championship, that we'll go back up with relative ease, and I think we'll see that this year. The gap's massive. The gap, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger each year. It really is. Like I've said, no other team can rest 4 players from Boxing Day and bring in, what did we bring in? Nonto, Ramazani, Joseph and Tanaka. It's just, if it was the other way around, I'd be saying it's not fair, but I couldn't care less. Bollocks to them all.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. And it's when you do these shows. I've started doing a show called Battle Lines with a certain individual, a Sheffield United fan who everyone will be aware on this. And there's something in him where he hates Leeds. Hey, he lives in Wakefield. Don't get many Sheffield United fans in Wakefield, but he can't stand us. And you can tell when he's trying to do these Leeds commentaries, like, oh, Leeds have scored. Oh, okay, right, great. And he's bubbling with anger. So he's avoided me. So I need to get him on this channel again, mate. But right, mate, I'll tell you what, we'll leave it there. We've been going for an hour and 15. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you for coming back on. I know everybody, including myself, we love having you on and you giving your 2 cents. It's fantastic, mate. So when you're next free, you're more than welcome. You've always got a place on this channel. So thanks for coming on, mate.
We'll get it more regular. We'll get it sorted more regular, mate.
Yeah, it's when someone's doing his 500 away days a season, and he's got a couple of demanding jobs, and he's coaching, and he's doing whatever else you're doing as well. He runs as well, so he's never got time. You know, people were saying they were like, Connor, why have you and Brownie fallen out? I said, we haven't fallen out. He's just doing a million and one things.
Yeah.
So
just got to share my time.
That's it. And a girlfriend, and we know how time consuming that is. So right. I won't say anything more. But yeah, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure, and make sure you crack a like on the video, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.